Boom, the miracles of video, we have ammunition everywhere. And this the ammunition discussion here sort of ties into the whole thing that we're dealing with here. You have to find some ammunition, find what works well in your rifle. The stuff that doesn't work really great in your rifle, save that for your kids. They can go out plinking with it. At different times of the last couple of years, I've been able to find different sources of ammunition in 22 long rifle. Some of it doesn't work great with all of my rifles. Some of it works better than others. This is stuff that's not actually in the box. I've had to label what it really is so I can figure out what I'm shooting. Now see, here's a great example. Found some auto match. I gave myself some practice time. Came up with some dial-ups. We have, at a certain zero. Once I have my chicken zero, that's what I tend to do. I tend to zero it for chickens. The rifle I use for shooting silhouette, I don't use it for anything else. I use it just for silhouette. I have plenty of other rifles for doing plenty of other things. But for silhouette, that rifle is for silhouette. So once I establish my chicken zero, I know with this particular auto match, which is not what I use every day, this is just what I happened to use when I ran out a couple of years ago and I was able to find this. I'm +5 for pigs, +4 for turkeys, +14 for rams. Now that's not the ammunition that I'm using right now. The ammunition I'm using right now is either a CCI standard velocity, which I'm kind of running out of, or a federal match standard velocity, which I have enough of to deal with probably for the next few months, thankfully. Now what happens is the dial-ups are going to be different. So I have dial-ups posted in my little toolbox of doom here that I bring up to the line with me. That's close to the dial I'm working on right now. The dial I've decided that I'm going to deal with for a while. See if we can get a shot of this. I just took a Sharpie and wrote it right on the side of my buttstock. So at chickens, I'm at 0. There's nothing written down for chickens. When I go to pigs, I'm going to dial up +11. I'm going to dial up to +10 for turkeys, +16 for rams. I'm going to give myself a -37. Now this is we'll call it a sample or a dials to go on, a basic dial. Geez, I don't even know what the hell you would call it. A starting point. We'll call it a starting point. Example on Sunday, my actual dial, I had to dial 2 more clicks to get into turkeys, and it was a -39. -37, -39. What I'm talking is, when I'm at the ram dial, I have it written down, so all I have to do is say, okay, yeah, -39 to get back to chickens. Click, 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 39 times. That's another quick tip on the day that you're actually going to be out there shooting. You want to keep life as simple as possible. Have things written down so it's not any kind of a mystery, because depending on how well or how bad you do, usually how bad you do in my situation when I get overstressed, you get stressed. Sometimes you can forget to dial back from rams to chickens, and then you go to shoot the chicken and you're 10 miles high over the damn chicken's head and you're wondering what the hell happened. And that's what you did. You forgot to dial back. But those are just little things you learn as you go along. Now, when you're setting up your rifle, this is what we're talking about. So now, I should have some, here's a day trying to figure out what works good in my rifle, because I was able to find some CCI. So I had some CCI, did some groups. This should happen in real life every day, but it doesn't. This is a 50-yard group. This is my group on the bench where I kind of trailed up because, I don't know, was I not paying attention? Was I not breathing right? Who knows? I seldomly shoot from the bench unless I'm testing ammo. Here's my offhand group. It's almost just as good. Every day needs to be like that. So here I am. I probably had run out of CCI at that point. Actually, going by the dates, this is where I was switching back from the CCI to the federal because I think I ran out at national championships. This is my bench group. This is my offhand group. That makes much more sense to be a little bit wobbly on the offhand group, but I'm still pretty much in there at 50 yards. You'll have targets like these where you set up, where you're trying different ammo. I should have some of those in the pile here. I just reached off the top of my pile to see what I could find. So here's some, testing out some Aquila, testing out some Federal Match Gold. That doesn't mean that one is better than the other. This is me with that particular rifle barrel in action. It happens to like this a little better. If I had some CCI I could show you from this same day, this would have been in April, last April. The CCI probably would have been an even tighter group. I think this is when I ran out of CCI last winter and I was switching to Federal or Aquila. I wasn't sure which I was going to go with. So, you're going to get your ammunition that your rifle likes. Well, my rifle likes XYZ ammunition. This is the one. This is the one I'm going with. Then you're going to start putting your targets out. Paper targets. Paper practice. The reason for paper practice is paper doesn't lie. If you hit this and you miss it, and you say, oh, I think I was a little to the left, I think I was a little to the right, you know, I'm not sure, I'm going to click my rifle, I'm going to adjust the windage knob, 2 clicks this way, 2 clicks that way, you're never going to get it right. You need to put up a paper target. If you can put it up at the correct distance, that would be great. You can't always do it. I know at my club where I go, we have to practice, have the target set up at exactly 50 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards. We can't vary. It's not a silhouette-specific club. If you belong to a silhouette-specific club, boy, you just hit the lottery. Because you can set the targets up where you need to. If you can't, you can't. You have to get a 50-yard dial up and do the math. There are apps for your phone where you can do ballistics charts. I use one like that. It's not perfect. I have used it enough now that I know the variance on the app for my particular rifle. If I know it's what it gives me, I know I need to click up or down, left or right. But you can download these off the internet. I'll see if I can make an annotation in the bottom of the screen for where you can download some of these. The other thing that I've done throughout the years, because you end up shooting a lot of paper. You end up shooting far more paper than you do metal. These are for game day. These are for race day. These are what you use in the match. This is what you can use under normal circumstances. And I end up with a big pile. The reason I was able to grab all these targets when I just walked by the stack over there is I keep all my targets. I usually date them. This happens to be dated and stapled. I know this was the April practice date. I only had one April practice date because there was literally 12 feet of effing snow on the ground, and it was just starting to melt in April. By about June 30th, most of it was gone. Hopefully this winter won't be like that. But what you end up doing is shooting a lot of these. These are just cardboard targets, you know, printed off the paper out of the internet, trace it onto a piece of cardboard, and then you can make as many targets as you want with a Sharpie or a crayon. And that's how you're going to practice. You see here today, this day, I had a pretty good shot right here. Now I should be able to hit because I'm hitting chickens at 50 yards, which is a little bit too far. I'm hitting pigs at 50 yards, which is a little bit too close. If I don't get a 4 out of 5 on the pigs, there's something wrong with me that day for sure. But you can go back. You know, I can go back years on my pile of paper targets. I can go back 4 years probably at least and be able to see where my hits, where my misses were. I know I've got plenty of pig targets out there from the beginning that I never hit a damn one. Not even close. Now I'm, you know, 4 out of 5 when they're close like that. Not a big deal. What I like to do is the day before I go out, I'm just going to crank out a bunch of targets. It's nothing but a Sharpie I like to use this big paper. One of the reasons I like to use the big paper is I can either fit multiple targets on there, or if I know I'm doing load development, I'm going to be able to put that target together. It's so fast here, I kind of screwed it up. But if I'm going to have a big miss, I'm going to have a big miss on paper. I'm going to be able to see exactly where the miss is. So if I'm looking through my spotting scope, this is one of my, oh man, this is one of my pet peeves. We're going to get into it on this one. White paper targets are the best thing ever. There's nothing worse than having a big black target that you're shooting at. And even with a spotting scope, you can't see the little hole that you're trying to make to know whether or not you did it right. Well, it's a big black target. You just shot a little hole in a black target. Probably you have a black background or something. Unless the sun's directly behind your target, you're not going to see where the hell you missed. So if you have targets like this, you're going to be able to see your misses all over the place. You probably won't even need a spotting scope. You can just use your regular scope off your rifle. So that's what you're going to do to get started. You're going to get your dial-ups. You're going to know where you are set, clicking that scope up and down in order to hit rams, a different setting for turkeys, a different setting for pigs, a different setting for chickens. After a while, you're going to be an ace, just being able to know exactly, okay, my chicken dial-up is whatever. Click, 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 boom. I'm somewhere right around in chickens. So you get there on the morning of, you say, I'm at chicken 0. You take a few practice shots to make sure you've got it. Click, 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 plus 11. Knock over the pigs, etc., etc. Go out, practice the hell out of that rifle. Practice once you've got basic points on paper where you know that your dials are correct. Go out there and do most of your practice standing offhand, because that's what you have to do. Push away from the bench. Learn that your bench is not your friend. You're going to stand up. You're going to get those groups in there standing. Get up, get out, get to the range, and we'll make another video shortly. Thank you very much.